I would like to say that that don't chase the Lambos.
That was the
And I also look at the Satoshi's white paper, especially the Bitcoin algorithm, is something like the Pythagoras theorem. Once the Pythagoras theorem was out in public, it's you couldn't take it back.
absolutely, it's just a law.
and you can't stop people from using that theorem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's very important that people read this paper, and it's technically it's only it's actually 6 pages, but the last 2 pages are the actual hardcore algorithm and the mathematics behind it, which if you're interested, you're always welcome to read it, but it's not that, because once you understand the core philosophy of why this whole thing started, and if you look at the historical reasons behind it, we know that the white paper was launched on October 31st, 2008.
Right.
Exactly 1 month after the Lehman Brothers investor and the financial crisis. Many of the people who are involved in its early days were more, some of them are disgruntled about how the system was, for all the flaws it has, and they were just bringing it to light. And that's why the Bank of England had announced a bailout package for the British banks, and before it reached anywhere else, came on the Bitcoin blockchain. So that clearly tells you that this has had some amount of it's like in the past, in the 70s and the 60s, people would go and protest on the streets. People would protest, you'd have strikes, lockouts, and those kind of agenda. But now, in the whole thing has gone digital. And Bitcoin is a part of that.
Absolutely.
It is a part of that whole, I don't want to say it's anti-establishment. It's just that it's an alternative.
It's a solution.
It's an alternative. And I also realized that out of all our institutions in democracy, finance has been the most undemocratic institution. For whatever reason, for its historical reasons, whatever national security reason, everything, but it has been a very undemocratic institution. Like if you look at if you study case in point as the financial mortgage crisis of 2008, you see that people's hard assets were converted into paper assets. And so paper has more value than the real asset sometimes. So what I saw in the whole Bitcoin and the crypto world is that there is an alternative. And it's not mandatory for everyone.
Absolutely.
It's not forced on.
Freedom of choice.
It's by choice you're going in. Unlike the banking system where you have no choice. I became more of a fan of decentralization.
Absolutely. I understand the philosophy part of it, which is what is crazy about it. Because I've seen so many people who not even have invested absolutely nothing, but they're so passionate about it because what it can do to the world.
And I see it like like hedge funds and all these big funds are available to people, institutional investors, experienced. But this whole crypto economy is such that even someone who's coming from not such an there is no entry barrier for people. It's not compulsory that you have to be a accredited investor type to play this. It's all you need is to open a wallet, and which kind of, for me, it's a open. I look at the whole crypto economy, right, with ICOs and everything combined. I think it's more like an open source hedge fund. If you look at it from that perspective, where there is no limitations on who wants to participate, how much they want to participate. And then And if you are participating in such an economy, you have to be very prudent. You have to be very careful. You have to be alert. And like you, just because you heard it from someone that this,
that's the mistake people make.
That's the biggest drawback. And then sometimes just going on the people will read white papers of all the coins. They read everything, but no one will go and like if you are reading a white paper, you compare it
with Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's original paper. You keep both of them side by side, and you see, and if it matches up, even if you buy a altcoin at like 15-20 cents. For a few hours it can become $1.
There's a lot of pump and dump things going on.
Exactly.
Which is why we need the regulation part of it.
In this system, by and large, anyone can issue the point. So that to that extent there is democratization.
Yeah.
But people who invest have to be very watchful and careful that if you're crazy just about quick buck, you are more likely to lose money quickly.
Yeah.
And that mentality, and therefore what would happen is that, and of course, in England also there has been this kind of controversies, but they have concluded, in fact there is a very nice interesting report, some of you want to read, Crypto Assets Task Force, and that is Majesty's Treasury, the Financial Conduct Authority, and Bank of England. So these three authorities have created a joint paper, and what basically they have concluded is that on the one side, the DLT has potential to deliver significant benefits in both financial services and other sectors, and all the three authorities will continue to support its development. It's a very pragmatic, from that perspective. And HM Treasury, Financial Conduct Authority, and Bank of England will take action to mitigate the risks that crypto assets pose to consumers and the market integrity, because people can manipulate and all that thing. So these are things which can, so that's why to some extent industry has to develop its own code of conduct or whatever it is. So what they have also concluded, they want to encourage and they believe that there's potential to give a lot of benefits to the public at large. And whatever are the risk factors, that is what we need to generally manage.
Yeah, I mean, these are some of the, this is FCA from UK, I would say, right? And the Bank of England. I mean, these are some of those well-known authorities and regulators. And what they are trying to do here is, with the conclusions, is basically they want to encourage the developments. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, they are taking care of the consumers, they are taking care of the investors, so that nobody plays back with them, protecting them. I think this is such an important points that they have mentioned.
And in fact, we also work with Mauritius government. The ecosystem for the crypto. And there also it is said it is not a legal tender.
Absolutely.
But it is not illegal. I think when some incidences happened recently, and I read in the newspaper that newspapers misreported. Widely.
Very true.
Even police also misreported. They didn't understand what it was. So, they say that the crypto is illegal. Okay? And that is completely wrong, And so we all accept it is not a legal tender like a fiat currency. But at the same time, it is a kind of a barter system.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure as things move, there is definitely more understanding of crypto within the governmental circles, within the public, and within the regulators, within the industry today than perhaps it was 4 years ago. And we are very hopeful that there will be a more amicable solution to the whole thing, so that whole industry can grow in a meaningful manner, and everybody feels good about it.
So coming back to the recent development that happened in India, where of course, like Supreme Court said that 4 weeks you have an opportunity to present it. Now, so a lot of question that people have that maybe in 4 weeks exchanges will be given account which they do not have right now, or usually they might have a question as to okay, so regulations coming in, okay, how many days does it take, what are the ministries involved, what's the process, and what happens to the exchanges. So would you like to put in some lights on?
Yeah, I think the way in which I will, well, matter is sub judice, so it is not appropriate to comment too much.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what I would say is that the needle has moved to the right somewhere, So there is already recognition that it is perhaps difficult to prohibit.
Yeah.
Once this principle is accepted, then next question is that if it is not prohibited, in what manner it can be abused.
Correct.
By people who are not disciplined or who want to play harm the public, and that's a government who comes in. So to what extent it should be regulated, it should not be regulated.
Correct.
This is the next thing.
Yeah.
And I am sure with so much being written in England, in Mauritius, in the US, there is so much guidance available today. We are not starting so that there is no guidance,
True.
Even in Canada, which was one of the early countries to, embrace Bitcoin and crypto.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of guidance available today, both to deal with the legal aspect, the tax aspect, and stuff like that. And so we are hopeful that something could happen. But if you are expecting within 4 weeks all the complete regulations will come, probably it is not going to happen. Yeah. I think that by the time things happen, we should expect about 6 months' time. Because they will come up with principles. Right. Again, I'm only speculating.
Absolutely,
if at all.
Yeah.
And they will lay down the principles. Once principles are fixed, then you get more framework for that. Yeah. And once the framework is there, that would be debated. Yeah. And then after, system. But I believe in a period of 1 year's time, there will be a lot of development, I'm eternal optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somehow or the other. And if you don't have that, you can't change the world for the better together,
Yeah.
So that is my broad conclusion, and I hope this has been useful.
Yeah, I mean, this is all. We have to be optimistic in our life, and just hoping that the positive results will come. That's what we can hope for, and I think this is also needed, and something that I think we would also agree to that, because the regulations are important, so that number one, we can have these technological developments in India, so that, because most of these companies were thinking of just moving out, which doesn't happen. We don't want brain drain here in India. So with the right regulatory approach, we can have them here, we can grow. At the same time, with the right regulatory approach, we can also tackle the bad players who are trying to just, take the advantage of this whole new technology. So we are very early stage, and I hope that we do have a regulation. So far, it's been very positive in India, to be very honest.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was also required because to just prevent the hype, the kind of stop that they have.
And there is so much entrepreneurship in the country.
Yes.
And you can build so much around the blockchain. And this is all going to be useful not only in financial service sector. It could be land titles. It could be even in aerospace, AI, robotics. I'm sure this technology can be applied in many ways. So I think that's the development that I see in the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for anything before we actually wrap this up. Any message that you have, Cyril? Any message that you have, sir, for the startups of the company? Anything that you want to share, or anything?
All that I would share is only one thing. That as you begin to get more freedom, be more responsible.
Be more responsible.
As you begin to get more, free environment, make sure you do not harm others.
Correct.
I think if you bear in mind this one or two principles, success is on your way. Sometimes success happens quickly, sometimes it takes a little time, but I think India can become one of the biggest players or major players in the cryptocurrency ecosystem and in blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. I mean, along with freedom comes responsibility. And crypto space, we have seen people who are not responsible, they have suffered it. So it's very, it gives you power, but it also makes you responsible.
And your question, I'm sorry, I can extend it more, is that those people who played by the rules, they went through difficulty.
Yes.
It always, when you play by a legitimate way, I'm not saying law or that sense, but in an ethical,
in a moral
way,
ethical,
you always go through some degree of grilling, time will test you and stuff like that. Eventually those are the ones who are going to survive. If you try to take shortcut to success, I think it will not take too long a time to go down the drain.
So, maybe I would like to say that don't chase the Lambos.
that was the last thing I hated about it so much. Like Lambo, man, come on, we're building something later.
So I mean, don't chase it. Just observe it, and it's because it's creating a whole new ecosystem. It's the way to approach it and your whole mindset towards how these crypto assets appreciate and all. You have to be very patient. You have to understand that just a quick increase in price doesn't really mean that much. You have to go in this market. You just be like a surfer.
Absolutely. So I think this is something that everybody, at least the prominent people into the space, have the same message for everyone that be careful. It all looks good, it all looks great, but be careful. We are still very early. Nobody knows how the technologies are going to turn out. Nobody really knows. Okay, nobody has figured out so many applications which has gone obsolete. So we are at a very early stage, and these things are developing. The best that we can do is we can keep ourselves updated on how it is developing and keep learning and keep educating ourselves. So with that, thank you so much, sir. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much, Sunil. And I hope this is valuable to you. And if it is, hit this like, share, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.